bigger, louder chest if we were at the Santon Convention Center. But we're doing things a little different. You know, I will have to say I miss some things about the old way of life. There was that buzz and the busyness and the atmosphere of having a large crowd. But don't worry, we are not going to give you any less. And also when it comes to information and great, great energy in the digital version, okay? So at the same time, I wanna say, my name is Sia Sangweni and welcome to my house. So at the same time, should I get you anything? Should I get you some tea? Are you sure and comfortable wherever you are? Just wanna make sure that you, wherever you're joining us from, are A-okay as we get things started. I think I should refer to you as a friend of the Sunday Times GenNext, because I know we have our partners, our sponsors, past and some potential new sponsors, some people who've also attended events in the past. Whoever you are, welcome to this. And this will be an information session where you can get more context around what the Sunday Times GenNext is all about, and also what you can expect this year. There's a lot coming your way, so you'll be enthralled for the rest of the afternoon. And thank you very much to our partners for making something like this happen, by the way. A big, big thank you goes out to our research partner, Yellowwood, and also our headline partner, the Gautrain, for partnering with the Sunday Times GenNext Digitized series for a whole nother year. It's going to be exciting times ahead. We never know what's coming our way, but we just do know that it'll always put on quite a show for you. So we have a wide range of people and topics to cover this afternoon to give you more information around this year's event, from the Sunday Times team to the Yellowwood team, and also I refer to them as the cool kids, and rightfully so. Once you get to know them in conversation a little later, you'll begin to wonder, what was I doing as a teenager? Because I asked myself many times over, chatting to someone who's still in primary school about youth trends. Meanwhile, I still thought Michael Jackson was an appropriate role model and I was still eating crayons. Lest we judge, let's very, very smoothly move on. Those will be the JBOD members who will be chatting to us, the Junior Board of Directors. So we have a lot to cover, so let's get straight into it without wasting any more time. If you have any questions and comments today, please let us know in our feedback session of the viewing page. But other than that, also join in on the conversation online. You can use the hashtag STGenNext. That's hashtag STGenNext. Let us know whatever you want to add to the conversation and let other people know what they're missing out on and what they have to look forward to next year. So first up, I would like to introduce our first speaker this afternoon. He's no stranger to the Sunday Times GenNext team and family. He's Eben Gevers, the head of advertising, sales, and trade marketing at Arena Holdings. Eben, welcome again. It's good to see you. Over to you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you to the JBODs for joining us and for the Yellowwood team. Thank you to everybody who's watching us from wherever they are, I suppose, to use your terminology there, Sia. Things have definitely changed, and it's a bit awkward. You were talking about bringing us something from your house just now. I was just spending the last couple of seconds trying to get my dog to stop snoring next to me. She refuses to leave me alone, and she's snoring. So if you hear anybody snoring, it's not me nodding off. It's my Jack Russell. So once again, I just want to introduce very broadly what Arena Holdings is. Arena Holdings are the proud publishers of platforms such as Times Live, Sowetan Live, Sowetan Business Day, Financial Mail, Sunday Times, etc. The Sunday Times has been in partnership with this project for more than 16 years. And we've used it keenly as a barometer to figure out what young people are thinking. The reason being is because we work hand in hand with marketers and advertisers in this country, and they need to know where the powerhouse of the decision makers, what they're thinking. The young people have so much sway over spend and you know what they influence in terms of where you live, because you have to determine, you know, are there good schools around, what vehicle you drive so that you can take the young people around with their bicycles and sports equipment and all those kind of things, and a variety of other things, including entertainment. So young people are responsible for a significant amount of spend, and that's one of the primary reasons why we are involved in this project. So I'm going to share my screen now. and just take you through a very brief presentation just so that everybody can see what the options are and why we are involved in this project and what the options are for each one of you. So over the last many years, a significant amount of things have changed for in this country and the world, and for young people in terms of how they communicate, what their interests are, what they consume, etc. What I really enjoy about the Sunday Times GenNext project is how we often find that the more things change, the more they stay the same. You know, there are some brands that are so unbelievably enduringly cool for young people that no matter what you do, they'll always be there. And then there's others where a big giant surprise all of a sudden comes through and shakes things up. And that's why it's so important for us to do this project. And that's why we're so happy to have Yellowwood as our research partner to unpack those results for us. So I'm just going to go very briefly through the Sunday Times GenNext 2020 in partnership with Yellowwood and just explain to you what it's all about. So there we go. So what is the project? Sunday Times partners with Yellowwoods and Arena Events, and we coordinate and digitally host the leading brand preference and consumer behavior survey and event in South Africa. The event used to be, I'm not going to lie, probably the biggest part of it for me, simply because of the fun of having about 500 screaming young people in a room. And sadly, that's not the case this year, but the impact and the results that we're still unpacking from this is still as powerful as ever. The GenNext, Sunday Times GenNext campaign is about delivering insights into youth brand preferences, and it seeks to answer the question of what do marketers need to know to better connect with the youth of South Africa. So in a nutshell, that's what the project's about. Just a little bit of information about our reach as Arena. I'm not going to touch on all the numbers, but you'll see that Sunday Times has a significant readership of in excess of 1.7 million people every weekend. Times Live, we've got UBs in excess of 8.3 million per month. So Sowetan Live, 3.5 mil. Arena events, we get UBs of 20,000 per month, etc. So if you combine all this big giant reach, you see how powerful this project is, not only for unpacking the results, but for all the partners who come on board with sponsorships and associations with us. Just a little bit of further stats about what happened last year. Last year, we had 15,000 webinar views on Facebook, 16,000 on YouTube. The awards themselves garnered 15,000 views. And overall, we calculated the campaign value to be in excess of 25 million rand. So I think for any partner that gets involved or wants to get involved, that is an extremely powerful place to be. The campaign plan for 2021, we are doing a 6-part digital conference. We're going to start on the 11th of March and unpack it from there. There's interactive digital activations. We can tailor make those depending on what you're trying to achieve as a brand. So all you need to do is speak to us. We're doing the actual digital awards in September. I know it sounds so far away, but we know how things work. It's literally, you know, speeding bullet train type of scenario. Then we do the supplement on the 12th of September. That comes out in the Sunday Times as well as on Times Live. We also print excess copies, which we distribute at relevant places. And if a client wants any extra copies for their marketing team, etc., simply reach out to us. And then we do the fun GenNext Research Insight speed dating digital session, which is quite cool. And this is where any of our partnering brands can gain additional research insights by engaging with our youth panel. I think that's quite an interesting one because it's not on paper, it's not data, it's an actual person who was involved in the project telling you what they think and what they like and what they don't. So why should you partner with us? Long story short, it's a fantastic project, but also you can leverage the multiple marketing platforms we have available. You engage directly with the youth through a digital activation. You can showcase your brand as a leader in the youth market. You can receive vast pre and post media coverage, as I've shown with our 25 million. You can interact with the country's top youth marketers, receive customized solutions in order to achieve your brand objectives, and you can gain valuable insight into what young people are thinking. So if you do want to get involved, we will share this deck with anybody who wants that. But simply contact either Courtney Hoyland or Debbie Montanari on any of these details. And if you need any further information, feel free to reach out to us and chat with us anytime. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Eben. Very concise, on time, and giving it as it is. We appreciate that. And moving on now, just before that though, a reminder to any of you who have any questions and comments this afternoon to please send them on our feedback section of the viewing page, or also on social media. You can use the hashtag #STGenNext. So now moving on to our next two speakers this afternoon, two members of our research partner, Yellowwood. First up, Refilwe Maluleke, the MD of Yellowwood, and then following her, we have Maschaba Xolo, Senior Data Strategist at Yellowwood. Now, amongst other things, they'll be looking at and taking you through the 2021 research methodology. So ladies, over to you.
Hi, Sia. Thank you so much for that very, very warm introduction. And hello to everybody who's taken the time to join us today. We're really looking forward to taking you through what we have planned for the 2021 GenNext. Before I get into it, what I'd like to take you through, for those of you who may not be aware, is just a little bit about Yellowwood. I think it's always useful to have context that the people who are doing the research have a little bit of experience doing that. So if we dive into who we are as Yellowwood, really what we do is provide our clients with tools that help them drive sustainable top-line growth. That's ultimately what we believe is the job of marketing, right? It's not necessarily to make sure that what the business is doing at an operational level is profitable and right. It's really about making sure that you are creating continued demand for the products and services that you sell. And the reason we do that, the thing that drives us, is really that we want to be renowned as leaders in strategic marketing, because we change businesses and human behavior for the better. And the reason we set that as our own vision, the thing that motivates us, is because we fundamentally believe that marketing has the power to do that, right? It's got the power to change businesses and human behavior for the better. How we do that is really by making sure we have an incredibly diverse team of thinkers who use the unconventional wisdom that comes when you bring really different types of people together to really connect those dots and drive sustainable growth for our clients. And our values, which I think, again, is important when you are deciding who you want to partner with and who you want to trust in helping to grow your brand, are originality, humanity, and bravery. In terms of who we've worked with before, and I do think, again, it's important so you know that we have been around for some time and have a sense of the kind of work that we do. And what really excites us as an organization is that we have an incredibly diverse set of clients, from technology players like Altron and BCX, to medical aid schemes like Bonitas, to telcos like MTN, financial services like Nedbank and Liberty. And one of our most recent clients is YFM, which of course is a very exciting piece of work for us. And of course, to fast-moving consumer goods, whether that's Unilever or Pernod Ricard. We really do have a broad portfolio of brands that we work with, which means we have a wide range of expertise across multiple sectors. And what I also find useful, and of course we'll share this with you afterwards for those who are interested, is to hear from those who have actually worked with us before. So whether that's Altron or Nedbank or Bonitas or MTN, the feedback from our clients is generally around incredibly high quality outputs. But most importantly for us, the fact that we engage with the businesses we work with to make sure that we are developing solutions for you that are truly pragmatic. From a team and a leadership point of view, as I mentioned earlier on, the real magic or secret sauce behind what Yellowwood does best is the fact that we have an incredibly diverse team. And whether that speaks to people from a journalism background, to academic backgrounds, to economic backgrounds, it really is about making sure that we bring together people who can challenge our thinking and generate innovative solutions. And the business is led by myself, Refilwe, as Sia mentioned earlier on, as well as our strategy director, Zama Hlope. And one of the benefits that we have is that we are part of a global organization called TBWA, which means we have access to a number of global experts from around the world in different markets and different sectors to really enhance the work that we do. And how we approach work, for those of you who haven't had the benefit of working with us to date, is really around focusing on three different pillars. We always start by diving deep, and that is a fundamental part of the work that you're going to see today. Any kind of meaningful work has to be anchored in meaningful insights and rigorous analysis. And that is headed up by the incomparable Maschaba, who you'll hear from later on today when she takes you through our approach to GenNext. The second component is, of course, developing the strategy that is business focused and practical. And for us, it is again about collaborating and working deeply with the people inside your business to make sure that we are developing solutions that are going to be pragmatic for you and your organization. And finally, around planning for execution, right? Making sure that you can actually deliver the things that we've said are right. And for those of you who are wondering and have joined because you're thinking, obviously Andy must be here. The business was indeed founded by the venerable Andy Rice and Andy Rice. I almost did it right. Andy Rice, 23 years ago. And we really are the first marketing consultancy in the country. And so that's a heritage we take incredibly seriously. As part of the work we do, because we are very curious people by nature, we publish research reports exploring the questions that we think businesses should be asking themselves. And whether that's about technology, or the role of women in business, or how the future world of work is going to impact the continent, or social innovation. And if I'm not mistaken, I think we've published about 20 since the founding of the business. It really is an opportunity to take a step back from the day-to-day work we do and think a little bit more broadly about, where is society and all sectors of society, right? Business, political, etc. Where are we moving to and where do we want to move to? And what is the role that brands can play in that journey? And if you are interested in reading any of those, they are all available on our website. And the most recent piece of thought leadership that we've built into the Yellowwood stable, which is going to be important as we move to the changes we've made to GenNext, is really our inaugural Ask Why report and segmentation. And really all we've done is seek to answer one question. What do leaders across all spheres of society need to know about South Africans in order to drive meaningful, sustainable growth? And so that looks at a broad range of South Africans from multiple demographics. The sample is more than 1,000 people, and really looking at the internal and external motivators that drive the kind of behavior that we see. And we found that that's a very useful tool in helping to enrich the work that you'll see in GenNext. And finally, the last piece of information about Yellowwood is that last year we acquired HDI. I'm sure some of you are wondering, what's happened and why is HDI not the one bringing this report to you? So last year, we were fortunate enough to have the opportunity to acquire HDI Youth Consultants. And with it came two extraordinary properties. So the GenNext study, which we're here to discuss today, which is now in its 17th year, and really unpacks the brand preference of young people, which is kind of coolest brands, as you would know it, as well as a lens into consumer behavior. And the other property, which again you'll have an opportunity to engage with today, are our junior board of directors. And we have 4 separate junior boards of directors, and they each consist of 12 people across 4 different age groups. We have kids, teens, young adults, and young professionals. And really their job is to really give the texture and substance behind the data that you would get from something like a GenNext. And they enable us to kind of stay connected to what is happening in the world of young people. And I'm sure you're all looking forward to the opportunity to engage directly with them at the end of our presentation. And finally, just to have a sense of who the people are who will be working on this incredible piece of research. Of course, it's myself as well as Mas Chaba, who is going to take you through the methodology for GenNext. We have the extraordinary Nolita Mkwanazi, who has a lot of experience when it comes to working with a wide variety of brands, and she champions youth within our organization. We have Dumi and Demi, who are the strategists that work on all of the challenging things that emerge when dealing with youth and developing strategies for multiple brands, most recently being MTN and YFM. And finally, we have Gananelo, whom without this, nothing would happen. She has the burden, I guess, of coordinating the sheer complexity of the study and making sure it happens reliably and on time and without any kinds of errors. So thank you, Kananelo, for making sure that we deliver this to the standard that we want. And she would indeed be your key contact. So as we launch into 2021, I guess the question is, what is the GenNext 2021 ambition? And as Eben has already said, really for us, the point of GenNext is to help you find out what it is you need to know to better connect with the youth of South Africa. That's what we focus on, and that's what our entire analysis and research is based on. And what's really, in my view, exciting about engaging with young people today is that there is this real duality this tension that exists within all of them around wanting to be a part of culture, which kind of by its nature can be somewhat superficial, can be focused on objectifying different audiences, and pressures people into trying to show up in a very certain way and present themselves in a very certain way. And that's kind of countered with this desire for authenticity, right? This kind of deep need to see the world move forward in the right direction, to see gender equality, to see racial equality, to see opportunities for everyone, kind of real kind of equality of opportunities, and to make sure, as one of our J-Botters said in a webinar I did with her last year, to make sure that in fact they have a world worth inheriting. And that sentence has really stuck with me because that does speak to this duality that exists within young people. And so what GenNext needs to help us do is really see beyond what it is that young people say and start to understand what it is that they really think and feel and how that impacts the things that they do. And I think if we can unpack that and really get to the heart of that, there are numerous opportunities for any brand that wants to engage meaningfully with this audience. And so for 2021, the focus for us is how do we really get behind the emoji? How do we help our brands and society at large understand what lives behind the things that young people say and get into what it means that they think, feel, and do. Having said that, I'm sure you're wondering, how does this thing actually work? And why am I so grateful to Gananelo for managing this complex project? I'm going to hand over now to our head of data strategy, who's Mas Chaba, and she will take you through the methodology. Mas Chaba, over to you.
Cool. Thank you for the introduction. Yes, my name is Mas Chaba, as you have been told. And really, yeah, I'm here to tell you a little bit about how we plan, to achieve this goal of trying to help you understand and really get a sense of what the youth feel, what they do, what they think, and how they behave, right? And we aim to achieve this through the 2021 GenNext study. Our ambition, again, is to create a base of understanding of the youth of South Africa to help brands and businesses alike drive sustainable growth. We at Yellowwood thrive on this ambition of driving sustainable growth for all our clients and for all of the projects that we do. And with this particular study, it is no less the case, right? So it is all about driving growth. And what we've chosen to do is to keep with the two-pronged approach that this GenNext study over the past 17 years has historically been undertaken as. And these two prongs, for those who may not be familiar with the process, is one, the brand preference study, which is really the ranking of the coolest brands as voted by youth, and which you may probably be most familiar with regards to the supplement that gets released by Sunday Times annually, telling everybody, what the coolest brands are. The second prong of this particular study is what we call youth behavior. Historically, it has been referred to as lifestyle. And as Eben did mention earlier, is that our inclusion as Yellowwood in this 2021 GenNext study really has changed things up a bit. And the change, if I do say so, is really when it comes to youth behavior. We've chosen to incorporate a youth segmentation with this particular study that focuses on various category engagements as well as associated behavioral drivers. So in terms of that, what they think, feel, say, do, how they behave, that's really what we're going to be investigating when it comes to youth behavior. And I will elaborate a little bit more about that shortly. Just to dive deep a little bit about the brand preference study. So we see that with the brand preference, it really is about identifying who are the high-performing brands, top-of-mind brands, the favorites in various categories. And with our 4 age groups, which we will be surveying this year, we've also been able to include the alcohol category, which is of much interest to a lot of our clients. And the sample for the survey itself, will be 5,900. So that will be the sample of which the Grand Prix of the categories will be assessed on. And as part of this particular phase or prong of the research, we have what we call a pre-research or a pre-research study, which we refer to as, we call it shortlisting. This shortlisting study is conducted amongst 2,100 youth members across the 4 different categories that you see. And what we do there is really we try to not assume what the brands are probably are top of mind for youth in the various categories. And we go out and we ask them unprompted what they think their top 3 brands are in each category. So this unprompted list then gets collated And with that collation, we then come up with the top 10 lists of brands for each of the categories, which then goes through the Grand Prix assessment, I suppose, for lack of a better word, amongst the 5,900. So preliminary research gets conducted amongst 2,100 to get our top 10 brands. And those top 10 brands per category then gets assessed by 5,900 people. And that together is the brand preference study, or the polling study, as it is colloquially known, which Sunday Times reports on in their supplement, and which I guess all of you as business leads would be interested in finding out where your brands perform in your distinctive categories. The part that is different for us this year is the youth behavior study. Okay, so the youth behavior survey, really, in terms of how we've developed it this year, is to help us be able to develop and provide strategic direction for clients in order for you to achieve targeted growth when it comes to understanding the youth audience and really just being able to pin down the associated drivers of behavior, drivers of choice, motivating factors, and just generally getting to understand who they are and what they do without having to assume, because we were once young, what they must be going through, because surely life hasn't changed that much, right? And I guess really the biggest thing about this particular survey and how it has changed from previous years is you will see that the sample is slightly bigger than that of the preference survey. And this is simply because we will be including a segmentation as part of this. And when it comes to segmentation study, for those who are familiar with the research process, they tend to have needing a little bit of a heftier sample in order to have robust analysis completed. But just to, kind of create the link of what you may have been used to in the past, for 2020, for example, we did sort of use the 2020 report for those who have had the advantage of being able to purchase it or the opportunity to purchase it. The 2020 Youth Behavior Report really focused on trying to help businesses understand the answers to 5 key questions that we really felt like was a starting point for you in terms of developing and targeting some kind of solution for youth. And what we did find in conducting this with the data that we had available for 2020 was that there was a little bit of a gap in terms of how we can focus on category engagements and behavioral drivers. So while we had the overview of who the youth are, what they care about, how they feel about their community, how they feel about brands, as well as how to best communicate with them, while we were happy with the insights that we brought from that report, we did identify the need to actually really dive deep into understanding specific category behaviors, mainly so that we are able to advise our clients and create the right kind of relevant strategies for this particular target audience in order for us to be clear on how we're going to drive growth and identify opportunities from those insights. So that's really how the shift has become from previous studies in terms of the study when it comes to category behavior and motivational drivers. But one of the biggest or most exciting shifts, I guess, for us here at Yellowwood is that this year we have included the Ask Why segmentation, right? And this Ask Why segmentation really just looks at adopting how can we unpack these behavioral drivers by identifying the levels of need satisfaction as well as attitudinal perspectives across both internal and external drivers, or internal external factors rather. So what we are then approaching is like we did this segmentation for Ask Why on a broad South African sample, as Refilwe did mention earlier. And if you do want details on this, please feel free to contact Gananello about that. But what the Ask Why study really revealed to us is that there are drivers, both internal when it comes to needs, Maslow's needs, and external when it comes to perceptions of various factors that influence our context and life. And when we build these together and we create a segmentation around it, we then are very clearly able to, understand and really interpret what is driving real behavior. And linking this behavioral drivers with categories obviously isn't something we had done for Ask Why as a syndicated study, but what we will be doing for this particular GenNext study is linking those internal drivers and motivating factors with a particular youth sample and how that youth sample actually interacts and engages on various categories. So that's really the driver and the power, and which we're really very, very excited to achieve for this particular study. And I think in terms of the refresh that it requires, as well as really where business is going with COVID and everything that has affected business and life really in the past year, it is important that we do kind of have an anchor and something to really understand what is driving that behavior. And I'm very excited to see what kind of insights we're going to get, especially when it comes to the external attitudes. Life has just taken some kind of a blow. So, and I can imagine for the youth, it's a different world out there, guys. And I think we can all agree that let's see what they have to say about it, right? So I did speak about the sample, as I mentioned. For the brand preference, we have 5,900 respondents. And for the youth behavior, we have the 7,100 respondents. And, just to contextualize that, because I do realize that for a lot of people, these samples, these are just numbers, and no one really gets a sense is like, is it big enough? Is it too small? How can we be sure that the sample is representative? And really just given the parameters and precedents of sample specifications for such studies, these are some that you may be familiar with. So AMPS, they no longer are doing this, but what they did, which I know a lot of marketers are familiar with, they were doing 12,000 respondents biannually. And that was just, radio, media, where to advertise, how to communicate. And that was really what the study was trying to do. The Ipsos polling, which is also quite, they do their polling on elections, on current affairs, and all sorts of things. They do 1,000 respondents per poll. And again, that is also representative, right? So even in those 1,000 respondents, they create representativity. You know what I want to say. I'm not gonna kill myself on that. And then most recently, which is also very relevant for us, is the youth study, the African Youth Survey that was launched actually last year inaugurally. And they were doing a sample of 4,200 across the whole of Africa, as in 9 countries. So, when we're looking at our sample, I really think we're in a good place. We're looking at a literally minimum of 5,000 respondents amongst just a youth-specific audience. So for those who are worried or weary about the sample that we're choosing, please be rest assured, we are covering our bases in that regard. In terms of the fieldwork, so it will begin next week, actually. We're starting the shortlisting phase. As I mentioned, the shortlisting phase is the unprompted, spontaneous brand mentions that the youth will be able to give us. So I'm very excited to see if there are any brands in any categories that I've never heard of. But that's the beauty of doing this phase, is because it opens up the opportunity for that, for any new brands, popular brands, underground brands. I don't know. We're going to see. It's exciting. It's an exciting time. What a time to be alive, guys. So that will be the shortlisting phase. That's occurring now in February, as of next week. And then the main study will be taking place in May, June. I must say, it really does suck to be doing this so late in the year, because usually, we aim to have these results released in the month of June, being the youth month. However, COVID really put a snag on school openings, on being able to conduct research face-to-face. So we've had to, relook at our approach in terms of physically how we're going to conduct this research. We have now digital solutions. We have partnerships with teachers in the school to help us conduct the research. And we've really needed to be creative this time around in terms of getting the data that we need because of the limitations that obviously have been put in place from the pandemic. So unfortunately, as a result of this, a lot of the research has moved out. From those who are most familiar with the project will know. And in light of this, then, we're going to be doing the main research in May and June. This is the brand preference and youth behavior study. And then there is a third phase of the research that I haven't actually spoken to, but what it is really is just for us to be able to probe our JBotters specifically on some of the insights and observations that the research uncovers. Okay, so we have opened up this phase so that if there's anything that is too surprising that comes out, or anything that we need further elaboration on, this phase will allow us to get that kind of in-depth analysis and in-depth probing done. And that will occur in July. Okay, and after all that's said and done, the results of the 2021 GenNext study will be available in September. So there will be the event that Sunday Times will be having in September. And I think it's the 6th of September, and they will have the supplement available where you will get the results of the brand preference study. And our youth behavior study, as you can imagine, with everything that we are going to be putting in, unfortunately, is not free. It will be needing to be purchased with the price below. So you can either purchase the report independently, or you can elect to have a workshop in which we as Yellowwood would come in with you and help, build out your opportunities or build out your strategies when it comes to targeting youth and, in having your category engagement allow your brand to be top of mind when it comes to sustainable growth. Because that's all we want, right? We want to be able to build strategies that drive sustainable business growth. For further information of this, please feel free to contact Gananelo, who, of course, as Refile mentioned, is like the head. She's the bull's head when it comes to this project and getting stuff done. So yes, contact her should you have any information, and I will hand back over to you, Sia. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. You guys are absolute rock stars. Look, I have to just shout out the team at Yellowwood. Between Masechaba, you and your optimism, reminding us what a time to be alive, and Refilwe, the way you were complimenting your team at Yellowwood, like I even want to work there now. I don't know what I'll be at Yellowwood. Perhaps I'll just bring my own table and chair. Don't worry about me. I'll be your chief Netflix series reviewer. How about that? Okay. But ladies, thank you very much. Great information there. And we look forward to hearing more from you and people engaging with you a little later as well. If you feel like any other questions or comments weren't really discussed by the Yellowwood team, you can use the hashtag #STGenNext if you have questions or comments, or also you can also send your comments through to the feedback section of the viewing page a little later. So now it's time to move on to our last portion of the afternoon, but really, really exciting stuff. I did say a little earlier, they are the cool kids. They are here to inform us, to inspire us, but they're also here to make me feel like an absolute underachiever. They're our junior board of directors, our JBOD. So I'd like to ask each of them just to unmute themselves as I introduce them. So welcome first and foremost, Lintswe Muhlaudi. She's a tween JBOD. Hey Lintswe, how are you?
I'm good.
Awesome stuff. And then next we have Dominic McNabbs. He's a team JBOD member. Dominic, how are you? Let's wait and see. Dominic, can you hear me? Thumbs up if you can. There we go. Cool stuff. And then we also have Zarina Thong, and she's a tertiary JBOD member. How are you, Zarina?
I'm good, and yourself?
Fantastic. Thanks for asking. And then last but definitely not least, he's a bit of not a triple threat, but a double threat. And he's almost there, triple threating it out. Dumsile Mpofu, who's a young adult JBOD member, but also part of the Yellowwood team. How are you, Dumsile?
I'm all right, and yourself?
Awesome.
Thank you for the compliment.
Actually, I'll give you triple threat because you're already a strategist and bringing a lot to the Yellowwood team. Yes, you are a triple threat. How dare I even? So just before we get into the conversation, these are the real questions I want to ask first to get to know all of you. So I'm going to ask, let me ask Lindsay. Here's a question for you. What's the song that got you through lockdown? Okay, we'll get into that just yet. So this is how we suss out our JBOD members, what they're all thinking about. Dominic, how about you? So the theme this year for GenNext is all about, behind emoji. What's your favorite emoji, Dominic?
My favorite emoji is the peace sign.
Okay, you come in peace. I'll accept that. Good thing. Zarina, here's the controversial question. YouTube, TikTok, or Instagram?
I honestly would say TikTok. I found it to be a little bit more entertaining.
Just know we are judging you based on your joking. What trend did you get into during lockdown? Did you start baking? Did you start, what social media trend did you get into over lockdown?
A participator, but I was a watcher. So every trend that was there, I was a stalker. You can maybe refer to that. I got into better stalking during lockdown.
Stalk in the best way possible, right? Okay.
Yes, no, not the people way, not the you way on Netflix.
There we go. So just to get into the conversation now, we want to find out more about what the JBOD is, and as well just get a peek into your brains as young people in this country and to talk around your insights and trends and where your mindset is at right now after quite a lot that we've been through since the last GenNext. So I want to start off just by asking you, Dumsile, what is a JBOD member and what does it mean to you to be a JBOD member?
Great question, because I was a part of the JBOD before I even worked at Yellowwood. So I've been kind of around and experienced it. So I think it's just a space where young people can come and voice their opinions on brands, right? Without it being filtered or having to worry that it will impact my image or do anything. It's a safe space to actually come out and actually voice your opinion and it be taken seriously by people who can do something, is what I've always viewed it to be.
Awesome. Zarina, why is it important, in your opinion, for brands to align and gain insight from JPod members?
I think because the future is, the youth, I feel like we're a generation where we want to stand out and we want our voices to be heard. And I think the fact that you've given us the opportunity for our voices to be heard so freely is lovely, and I think it's a necessity.
Absolutely. Good stuff there. Dominic, let's talk around the past couple of months for you. How has your lifestyle and your preferences and your shopping habits even changed since COVID-19 hit?
So during COVID-19, I have shopped a lot less, and because that's mostly at home. But I've gotten a lot of new things to do. I've gotten more interested in making music, making my own beats, making my music, and also just busy practicing more, and also spending a lot of time with my brother. And I also became a humongous fan of Call of Duty during the COVID-19 quarantine.
Okay, okay. Is it a good thing that you were spending a lot of time with your brother? Did you like that?
It's a very good thing because we bonded more, because usually before the COVID-19, I was always out from traveling and busy playing at gigs. So me and my brother didn't get too much time to spend with each other. But now that the COVID came, we spend a lot of time together.
Yeah. See what I mean when I said cool kids? They bring the coolness. So this is why I'm going to plug myself. Dominic, I'm also at home. I got some spare time on my hands. If you need me to feature on a beat, I can also just do something. I don't know what. Maybe I'll speak on top of a beat. I see the drum kit in the background there. We'll make something happen. Dumisile, when you look at what has transpired over the past few months, when it comes to brands and how they've been communicating with the youth and young people in general, are there any campaigns that have stood out to you during this time, and why?
I don't know if it would be like campaign specifically, but I do think there's a lot of individuals who kind of stood out in things that we're doing that are very authentic. For example, you can have Donovan Goliath, the stuff that he was doing with his own home entertainment, with the trains and stuff like that. It felt really authentic and representative of what was going on, as well as you can see, what's this? There was the guy who's really picked up, the guy who, I think Bob O'Connor, the reporter type dude, he was doing those skits. So that type is picked up and it's now been taken up by brands. I think it like authenticity was important. And the thing about the internet, people always try to jump on bandwagons. So sometimes brand could have felt a bit heavy. So during that time, so it's more like things that happen outside just the brand landscape, which then what I think brands did well is tapping into them to kind of explode.
Right. I do just want to interject quickly and remind you, wherever you're watching us from, please let us know how you want to join into the conversation. Any questions or comments, you can actually add the comments or your questions for the JPod members in our live chat feature, or also on social media, #STGenNext, and I'll be able to ask some of the members, the JPod members, your questions. Here's one that's coming for you, Zarina. Someone would like to know, what brand do you think is hearing your voice the most right now?
That's an interesting question. I think at the moment I'm quite a sneaker fan, and I've seen that Nike and Adidas have been bringing some quite cool twists on different shoes, and I think they had a campaign where they were speaking about what the youth is looking for. And I think for me, the designs that they're creating through their sneaker brands at the moment is really incredible and very, dare I say, useful. And I think they're definitely working more towards using youth between the ages of like 16 to 20 as their target market. And I think they're striving at the moment.
Right. And Dominic, actually same question to you. Who do you think is hearing you right now? Who's talking to you in a way that you think is cool and makes sense and isn't just trying to seem like they know you, but they really do hear you?
At the moment, I'm really not sure, but I think the people that are like out there busy watching, like more like the youth, children that are my age, children that are and kids that are in primary school or in high school. That's what I think.
Okay. So to all three of you, by the way, I do have to apologize on behalf of our panelist, Lindsay Mahlaudi. She has load shedding. Welcome to South Africa. And so she's just had to jump off. We will see if we can get her back, but we will just carry on in the efforts of saving some time with the rest of our panelists. To the three of you currently here, I'd like to know, what would you say your age group spends most of their time researching right now? Dumsile, let me start off with you.
Probably how to get the bag, because it's like that straddling, trying to make money, trying to figure it out. That's where I think a lot of us are, because there's a lot of like you postgrad, like postgrad, or you just finished varsity. There's that element, or if you're not a person who went to school, you're getting to an age where your parents are like, you need to get serious. You can't just be a rapper for the rest of your life, like things like that. So that's what's coming up.
To anyone over the age of 45, getting the bag means making money, getting the money back. Just have to put in my own little subtitle there to translate. Zarina, what would you say? How is your age group spending, what is your age group spending most of their time researching?
I think I have to agree with Dumi. I mean, we're on the same page, coming just out of college, and the hustle is starting to become real. You're in college life and you think you can deal, and then you're out of college and boom, life hits you. So I think just trying to, find a job or trying to better yourself, even further education is primarily what I find myself searching the most. But in another state, I think we're also searching how to be more cool, following trends, getting our hair cut, getting the typical eyebrow slit. And the fashion trends and all that, I think, is another thing that is quite prominent in the research history at the moment.
Do you think the 45 plus age group knows what the hustle is?
I would like to think so, but the hustle is just, seeing how much you can make. Pretty much for me, it's, having multiple jobs, trying to be the best person you can, and just trying to get as much money as possible to be part of the rich people when you're older,
There we go. Dominic, what is your age group spending a lot of their time researching? Are you researching some Call of Duty cheat codes and how to get to the next level?
Yes, we do Google on how to like get a lot of cheat codes for the game, but mostly my age group would be spending most of the time on Fortnite, busy on Fortnite, basically just busy throwing the controllers around because on Fortnite, when you lose, it's like a big deal, and when you win, it's like a big deal that you have to post it on social media. So if you lose, you just throw your controller on the floor and just go on and say, "I need to win." But then the other side is we also my age group also spends a lot of time on TikTok. That's what I think. They spend a lot of time on TikTok.
Okay. Hey, I see Lindsay's back. Lindsay, can you give me a thumbs up if you can hear me? Good to go. Fantastic. Lindsay, I want to find out from you quickly. What are some of the local brands that you love right now? Some local South African brands that you like?
Well, the local South African brands that I like are mostly Adidas and Nike.
Okay. How about something that's made in South Africa? Is there like a TV channel that you like, or like South African brand of food that you like?
I like Soweto TV.
Oh, okay. There we go. Keeping it local like that. Dumsile, in your opinion, how should brands apply influencer marketing to get ahead this year and to communicate differently and effectively?
A large part, I think, people can see through influencer marketing now. People know people are influencing, and everyone is forced to now say ad. I think they need to give the creators more control of their content and how they use their content for it to be effective. And also like choose people that align. I see the numbers game, getting people who can get you up there, but sometimes it doesn't make sense. Like this guy was trashing this last week and this week he's posting this. So they like influencer marketing can create confusion for even me when I see it. So the one thing I'd probably recommend is like give the creators more control and make sure the creators actually understand what they're working with, right? So instead of just briefing for the sake of briefing, for the sake of numbers, because a lot of people can now see through that because we all now have an understanding what influencer marketing is. It's just another channel, it's another TV thing.
Right. And Zarina, for you, what unlikely marketing streams should brands tap into to reach the youth in 2021?
I find that, and I feel like Dominic can back me up here, considering he said, most of the youth is on TikTok. But I do find that TikTok is becoming very big, and I think people can definitely brand more on there. I fell into the world of TikTok, and I blame lockdown. But the advertising that's going on there is beautiful. It's very useful. It's very big, and I definitely take notes on it. So I think one of the places that advertising agencies or branding should go towards is TikTok, because the youth is definitely, I think, stuck in it at the moment.
So Zarina, on that note, you just want to give a public service announcement to anyone who's still doing the Savage Challenge on TikTok. Can we call it a day with that, right?
Please. I think we need to get away from that and create some new interesting challenges that are a bit more kid-friendly as well.
Thank you. Dominic, hey, have you been to the shops lately? Have you been back into a mall or shops, or are you still buying things online?
At the moment, not. We haven't shopped online in a long time, but mostly when my dad's out, and then we would usually, if we need something near home, then we would usually just write it down for him, and then he would go. And if he goes there, like make example to Centurion Mall or somewhere there, and then he would usually pick it up and then come home and make sure to sanitize it and then we would use it. So mostly we haven't been doing a lot of online shopping.
You're putting safety first, and that's a great thing. And for you, Lynn, so have you been to the shops recently? Are you going back into malls to shop, or are you doing things online now?
We're not really doing things online. We usually go to the shops. But as me, I do not go to the shops. I have to stay with my aunt at home, and my parents go to the shops. So, and when they get home, they make sure to throw away their disposable mask and sanitize.
Ah, great practice there, I see. And in amongst all of the things that you see, all of the brands, the different toys you play with, any channels that you watch, which are the brands that make you happy, Lindsay?
Most of the brands that I usually use are Nike, as I said, because most of my clothes are
Okay. You're about to do like an outfit of the day situation with Nike. Final question, just in wrapping up for you, Dumsile, with a vaccine on the horizon, how do you think brands should innovate to meet the new youth demands that we're facing?
I think with a lot of people cooked up for the last couple of months, I really think they should spend a lot of time in thinking about how to create experiences from the tail end, like how to actually bring things to life and stuff like that, because I do feel like there's an opportunity in tailoring experiences for young people when the world opens up again, because I do feel like there's a thing about missing human connection and interaction. And I think we see it every time we go through a lockdown and how groove pops and people are everywhere. So I think there is an opportunity for brands to meaningfully engage through experiences post like the vaccine rollout and things like that.
Cool. I'm done with translating for the day. So if you're 45 plus and you don't know what groove is, Then you clearly are not there at Groove. Tumsile, what are you looking forward to with Sunday Times GenNext this year?
I'm really looking forward to the new methodology. So as someone who works in marketing myself, so the behavior stuff, the things that I do not understand, because like they said, like as young people, there's so much going on in your head. It'll be very interesting to see how someone tries to extrapolate that thinking and how you can possibly tap into that. So it's more of like a work thing. So it's not as cool.
Zarina, what are you looking forward to with Sunday Times GenNext this year?
I think firstly the fact that this campaign is alive is firstly incredible. So just wanted to put that out there. Thank you for having this. And I just think that I don't even know how to really answer this question, because I just think the whole campaign is super exciting for me. Just to know that people are aware that the youth wants to be heard is incredible in itself. So I think that would be my answer, is just the fact that it's alive and living and thriving. I'm just excited to see what the future holds for it.
Yeah. Dominic, what are you looking forward to with the 2021 version of the Sunday Times GenNext?
I'm also not exactly sure, but I do agree with Serena. That is a pretty good idea.
Okay. And last but not least, Lito, what are you looking forward to with Sunday Times GenNext this year?
I hope that it goes well. And as Zarina said, I agree with him.
Okay, then. A lot of people quoting Zarina. Lindsay, I'm certain we'll see you next time in some sort of a conversation like this. You'll be decked out to Nike head to toe, right? Is that a yes? Okay, we'll take it as a yes. To all of my panelists, a big, big thank you for taking the time to share your insights and your advice with all of our conversations and questions. Dumsile, Zarina, Dominic, and Lindsay, thank you oh so much for being here this afternoon. And to you joining us at home, at the office, wherever you are, a big thank you for making the time to join us this afternoon. We hope that we have shed some light, we've entertained you, and we've informed you in various ways from the Sunday Times team, the GenNext team, and from our JBOD members as well. This has been the digital launch of the Sunday Times GenNext. It's a new way of doing things, but we are here to make sure that you have the best experience we can in these times. Once again, a big, big thank you goes out to our friends of GenNext, whether you're a partner, sponsor, someone who's attended before. If you're watching for the first time, we really appreciate your support and your time. And also thank you to our research partner, Yellowwood, who made this possible, as well as our headline partner, Cloudrain, for partnering with the Sunday Times GenNext digitized series for this year. And if you have any further questions and comments, you can leave your details and information in the feedback section of the viewing page. But other than that, you can also continue the conversation by hashtagging STGenNext. That's hashtag STGenNext. But from myself, Sia Sangweni, from my lounge, feel free to stop by next time. It's been a delight having you. Cheers.